We get asked this question so many times. I can't tell you how many times we've been asked this question. It is very common. Things that we regret we didn't get. You know, maybe we saw it and didn't pick it up or whatever, and we come home and realize how big of an idiot we are. We're gonna go over them. These are my top 5 Game Chaser regrets. But before we get to that, I wanna thank today's sponsor. Now, if you've ever wanted to learn a new skill, now is the perfect opportunity with Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creative and curious people like all of us. You can learn all kinds of skills from music to, well, video and film production, graphic design, and so much more. Skillshare offers creative classes designed for real life in all circumstances that come with it. These lessons can help you stay inspired, express yourself, and introduce you to a community of millions. Now, a lot of people on this channel have always reached out to me and asked me questions about editing and video production and things like that. Well, Skillshare is a perfect place to learn all that you want to learn. Now, I wanted to try Skillshare for myself, so I decided to take a class. So I saw a class from an instructor named Dan, and the class was called Storytelling in the Edit. And I actually got some useful tips that I could implement in our film that I'm editing, specifically when it comes to showing and not telling in the edit. And while I was on there, I quickly discovered that it's not just you alone. There is a vast community here to support you and share your interests. I know I will be taking many more classes on this site. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, meaning that there are no ads, and they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever that creativity bug takes you. Now, what's awesome about this particular ad is that the first 1,000 of you who are subscribed to click this link down below will get 2 free months, 2 premium free months of Skillshare so you can begin to explore your creativity.
Oh, it's Friday night. I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. I could sit here and pick my nose while I watch a brand new video. Whoa, Top 5 Friday tonight.
Number 5 on the list. Now, this one isn't that bad of a regret, but I do think of it from time to time. It's on the episode Snatch and Grab, when we got robbed. Well, after we got robbed, we decided to go hit up a store with Alpha Omega Sin called the Game Master's Realm. And in this store, we came across a lot of good things. I found a box for Chip and Dale 2, which I definitely don't regret getting. It's up on the shelf right now. However, there was one thing in there that really I don't even think showed on camera. Maybe it's in a quick shot in the window, but it was the Vehicle Force Voltron. Now, this Vehicle Force Voltron was the one that I had as a kid. I rarely ever see it. It's not common. He had it in the window, and I asked how much he wanted for it, and I believe he said it was like $70. Well, that's cheaper than what it goes for, and it's way, way cheaper right now, or way cheaper than it is right. Okay, God. Let's rewind that. It's way more expensive now than it was then. This is a train wreck, man. Point out is this thing has gone up in price every year since. We're going to Canada. I should probably save my money. I wanted it and I didn't get it. So yeah. There was a flea market down near Gun Barrel City that we used to go to, and one of these particular flea markets had a booth run by someone called Don. And Don became a really good friend of, I can't say friend, we didn't hang out outside the flea market, but you know, we would go there so often and we knew each other, and he was super cool. One of the coolest people we've met on this show. He was just so accommodating, and he put up with our BS, and you know, he had fun with it. And he kept on telling us, I have this original Atari, I have all this Atari stuff that was original back in the day, because his father sold Atari stuff. So he had access to all kinds of stuff, and he was like, I want to sell it to you guys. I want to sell it to you guys. And you know, he wasn't going to ask premium dollars for it. He was just like, I'll give you a great deal on it or whatever. deal. And so we were like, yeah, we'll do it. Absolutely. I had his phone number. I was like, okay, we will contact you. We will go ahead and arrange a time for us to come by and look at this thing. And, I texted him a few times in the weeks and months ahead, and, either he was busy or we were busy. It just never transpired. We got in touch again, and he had sold it to somebody else. He gotten really, I'm not going to get his personal stuff, but he had to sell it. And he actually closed up his shop, and there's a reason why we stopped going down there in the first place. And it's not as big of a regret as me I didn't get this cool Atari stuff. I really wanted to showcase it because it was his father's stuff, and he had some interesting stories to go along with it too. So, my intent was to always go down there with the camera, with Jay and everybody, and just film an episode there. And we were never able to make it happen. That's part of the reason why. Because everybody had to get their schedules together, which is what made it more difficult. If it was just me going down there to buy it, I could have gotten it. But no, we had me, Jay, and get a cameraman, and everybody's schedules had to mesh. So it just never happened, and it sucks. I really wanted to showcase that stuff in an episode and get it, and it just didn't happen. Now, the next big regret is on our way back from MagFest, we stopped in a place, I believe in Tennessee. No, it may have been like Georgia or something. I don't remember, whatever. God. It doesn't matter. It was a small town pawn shop called Bill's Pawn. And we go into this place. It's the episode Off the Beaten Path, or Oddities Off the Beaten Path. This guy had so much gaming stuff. It was crazy the amount of gaming stuff this guy had. Super cheap games. Super cheap oddities, hence the name of the episode. I mean, so much. And we could just dig in there for hours and hours and hours and just find all kinds of just weird gaming odds and ends. It was a magical kingdom from the heavens, video game smorgasbord of awesomeness. The problem was we had just come back from this trip of MagFest, and, we're all broke. I don't got that much money to spend. And, I couldn't get a whole lot of stuff there, especially the different versions of the N64. Now, I'm not the biggest N64 fan, but I really, really, for whatever reason, love collecting the different versions, like the Ice Blue, the Atomic Purple, all the Popsicle Orange, whatever it's called. I love collecting those N64 versions, and I have one. But anyway, he had Ice Blue ones, like a couple of them, and I believe an orange one too. And we did not pick them up. And they were $15. I think they were like $15. There was nothing crazy. It was like $10 to $15. That's it for these things. And it just drives me crazy. I go back and sometimes look at this episode, and specifically now I'm looking at it because we're remaking the Blu-rays for the DVDs. I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, oh God, no. Oh my God. And there was also that Super Nintendo tray. Like there were so many things in that store. That's what I hope I always see when I go into a pawn shop. So number 2 is, it's episode 7, To Boldly Go. Now this is the flea market at the beginning of the episode where we find the Contraforce and Adon goes with us, and we find this lady selling games at $2 a piece. $2. Every game, $2. It's like every fantasy come true. We had enough to buy $20 worth for me, and then Jay maybe another 20. I had like $20 in my pocket, and that's all. I got like 5-6 games. That's it. She had so many different games that you just don't ever run across. So just really uncommon stuff. There was so much more that I wanted to get, and for whatever reason, we were just content. We were like, yeah, we're good. Let's just go. We'll come back another day. It'll be fine. We'll get some more another day. No, what we should have done is gone to the ATM and come back that same day, because we never saw that lady again. And it wasn't from lack of trying. You know how many times we got up early and often, we're gonna go shoot an episode at that lady's place again. We would go and she would not be there. It happened at least 5 or 6 times. And you guys never saw it because nothing was filmed. So that sucked. I guess, I'm looking at it in 2020 eyes when you never see anything like that ever. But I guess back then, games were just so common at that point, especially for us in Texas. Games were just falling off trees. It was like, you gotta keep in mind, this was like 2011 or whatever. We didn't think anything of it. Yeah, we realized it was a great deal, still $2 a game, but we were like, we'll come back, we'll get more. It'll be no problem. Little did we know how bad things would get from collecting. I guess we just don't have foresight, but whatever. We have foreskin. Well, I don't, but Eric does. But he got caught slipping on Battletoads Double Dragon. Honestly, I probably would have put the last one number 2, number 1, but the reason I'm putting this number 1 as number 1 is because I get razzed by this one. There are people that still leave comments about, you realize you left that game, right? So I have to hear it from you. This is episode 15, Rival Turf. We're just strolling along and we come across a box of Super Nintendo games at the flea market, and they're boxed. Don't see that often. Great condition. And they're $3 a piece. Oh man. $3 Super Nintendo games in the box? Hell, you don't even see them loose for $3. Unless you're in Cleburne, that $2 flea market lady, but I digress. Anyway, we, instead of, for whatever reason, not just saying how much for all, we decided we're gonna window shop and pick and choose. That one looks good, I'll get that one. Let me brush that one aside and, I'll pick this one up. Now, granted, I did get 7th Saga, okay? I think Jay got Populous, but we're brushing games aside, and one of the ones we happened to brush aside was Legend on Super Nintendo. What? Legend on Super Nintendo is not an easy game to find. It's pretty uncommon. It is a beat 'em up. No, I've never played the game, but it looks pretty interesting. It looks fun. It looks like a standard beat 'em up. Those are always awesome. In the box, probably complete. These things look immaculate. And we just brush it aside like it's meh. Well, we don't want that one. I'll take Populous. I'll take 7th Saga. Don't regret getting 7th Saga, but why didn't we get them all? But no, that didn't happen. And I don't understand why it didn't happen. It makes no rational sense. It makes no sense. Why would we just not get the game? I still have nightmares about that. I get woken up in the middle of the night. I could still hear the boxes rumbling around. I just wanted to go